One way to look at recruitment is to consider the model of job candidates as shoppers or prospective customers.
Managers sometimes forget that there's a whole toolbox of resources they have to use to give reinforcement.
Conducting an effective interview is one of your biggest tools in designing a method for more successfully choosing the right person for the job. By following these steps,
overwhelmingly we heard back from human resource professionals saying yes, they are very dependable, loyal employees, great customer service skills.
Because we look at any ethnic or racial group, we can always see that there are individuals within those groups with individual characteristics, individual motivations.
Every generation has been frustrated with the youth of their day, and today's Generation X employees are no exception. We've heard
every restaurant is on the lookout for productive, loyal employees. Hiring people with disabilities is another way for your establishment to meet its staffing goals. One way to look at recruitment is to consider the model of job candidates as shoppers or prospective customers. Consider that we are all shoppers of life experiences. We go through life pushing our shopping cart, wishing to fill that cart with the things we want and need: happiness, self-esteem, recognition, and satisfaction. Each of these items are purchases we make when we accept a job. And as job seekers, we are shoppers of that right purchase, the right job for us. Therefore, let's look at a brand new idea that has been thoroughly tested by examining 6 marketing principles that we can apply to recruitment today. The first principle is to target the market segment. And I love what McDonald's does in its advertising for customers. You know, it wants to sell hamburgers to the world, but it does it in a very targeted, segmented kind of way. For example, it has used Ronald McDonald to appeal to young people. It has developed Mac Tonight, appealing to the young adult. And it has different racial and ethnic groups represented, appealing to those potential customers. So what they have done, in effect, is to sell hamburgers to the world, but by targeting different market segments in its advertising. And that's the same thing we need to do in our recruitment advertising. We also want to think about who we are recruiting. One company I know of, for example, has found that they have better retention rates for their part-timers when they look at older workers and attract older workers. So you may want to consider who you're targeting and then target that individual that you're trying to reach by the medium that you use to advertise as well as the message. The next point that I'd like to make is we need to sell the opportunity. And unfortunately, many of us do this in the wrong way, as is shown in this example I'd like to share with you. It's in Connolly and Connolly's book called Competing for Employees. And in their chapter on recruiting, they say, can you imagine a marketing department running the following ad for customers? And it goes on to read, "Customers wanted, are you good enough to buy from us?" Wonderful Widgets Corporation, the world's best maker of things people need, has a product for a motivated customer who's good enough to buy from our hard-working, highly successful team. We need customers who are willing to work hard at using our challenging new products. We give every customer a different price depending upon their qualifications. Only experienced customers need apply. We are a very busy company, so please don't bother us in person or by telephone. Send your request to Wonderful Widgets Corporation, Customer Screening, Box 12, Central City, USA. So what we do need to do in our recruitment advertising is to sell the opportunity, which also means that we have to have something to sell and be ready to sell those opportunities in our recruitment messages. The third point I'd like to make is to make it easy for candidates to apply. For example, if you've been requiring that all job candidates send in resumes, you may want to reconsider. It may be putting up some barriers to some job seekers. Also, you may want to consider offering employment hours during weekend and evening hours. Also, perhaps adding an employment hotline or using clip-out coupons as part of your recruitment ad so that interested individuals can complete that and send that in for more information. The fourth point is to roll out the red carpet for job candidates. You know, recently a friend of mine went on a job interview. She had a great job but was interested in bettering herself. She had a great first interview and then was asked to wait for the hiring manager. She waited for an hour and a half. Now, she never did get that final interview, and she told me later, you know, Kathy, she said, I would never work for that company. If they treat me that way as a job applicant, how are they going to treat me as an employee? So we really do need to consider how we're treating our job applicants. You know, Disney does so many things so well, and one thing that they have always done is hired mystery shoppers that pose as job applicants to go through the employment process to see if job applicants are receiving that red carpet treatment. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and hire mystery shoppers, but I am considering that you take a good hard look and see how candidates are treated. Point number 5 is to create the right image. You know, if you've ever looked for a home, you remember receiving the multiple listings booklet each week. Remember that home that's in there week after week after week? What do you start thinking about that home? Don't you start to wonder what's wrong with it? Let me ask you another question. What if your ad is running in the paper week after week after week? What do job applicants start thinking about your place of employment? That's right, they're probably thinking, what's wrong with it? So you want to consider how many times you are advertising in the paper and be sure that you're not creating an image of desperation. Now, what if you are somewhat desperate for help and you want to get the right candidates? Point number 6, use a variety of creative activities and messages. Don't rely on just one idea to be able to recruit all the people that you need. Consider telemarketing or telerecruiting, direct mail, radio, television, any number of activities to find the people that you need. You know, finding the right employees really is the competitive issue for the 1990s. It's like the old story of the 2 recruiters on a safari finding themselves face to face with a ferocious lion. One of the recruiters reached down to pull out a pair of running shoes, and his friend stated, "You've got to be crazy. You can't outrun that lion." The first recruiter replied, "I don't have to outrun the lion. I just have to outrun you." And so it is with recruitment today. If you don't have the best people working for your organization, the best people will be working for your competitors. Best of luck in developing effective staffing plans so that you'll be able to get the best.
Well, I'm Tim Sanford for American Financial Skylink, and joining me is Kathy Fyock, President of Innovative Management Concepts and author of Get the Best, a book on recruiting and hiring top-notch employees. Kathy, where does good customer service begin and why?
Several years ago, there was a Harvard Business Review article that talked about just this issue. And what this article said essentially was that good customer service began with treating your employees very well. And there's a model that they explored in this that essentially said that if we provide internal service quality, if we're treating our employees the way they want to be treated, if we're meeting their needs, that leads to employee satisfaction. People are happy, so therefore they are retained on the job. So we have less turnover and better employee retention. When we have employees on the job, doing the job, who know the job, they can then provide external service quality, which leads to customer satisfaction, which leads therefore to customer retention and therefore greater profitability. And assuming that employees share in the good things that happen to their company in some sort of way, directly or indirectly, that leads back into greater employee satisfaction. So this model really makes a lot of sense for businesses who want to do the best job in providing external services. Let's look first at doing the best job for providing for our own employees.
Well, what you're suggesting here is that employers treat their employees like customers. Tell me a little more about this concept.
Well, it really makes sense when you think about it. In a way, we're all customers of life experiences. We're all sort of pushing our imaginary shopping cart through life, wanting to fill it with a series of needs things that meet our needs. And so, as we look for a job, we're looking for a set of experiences